He smiles. He speaks gently. He calls himself a good man. But look closer. Behind that charm is a man waiting to collapse, brittle, soft, rotting behind a smile. He doesn't lead. He performs. He doesn't protect. He pleads. He doesn't act. He escapes. This is not a man. It's a threat hiding in weakness. Machiavelli never feared tyrants. He feared the coward disguised as noble, because when pressure rises, the mask falls, and what's left is a liability dressed like virtue. You think you can trust him. You think he's harmless. But the weak man always folds. And when he folds, you pay the price. The weak man in disguise. He's a co-worker who smiles in meetings, then says nothing when you're attacked. The boyfriend who preaches loyalty but disappears when life gets hard. The friend who cheers for you until your success makes him insecure. This is your warning. In a world ruled by perception, weakness isn't just unattractive, it's dangerous. So ask yourself, are you standing next to a man or hiding beside a shadow? Have you ever trusted someone only to watch them break the moment it counted? Comment below. Name the moment you realized someone you trusted was never built for pressure, the fear of discomfort. He says he's peaceful, grounded, balanced. But the truth is simpler. He fears discomfort and he worships ease. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to act and repent than not to act and regret." The weak man lives in the opposite direction. He doesn't dream of building empires. He dreams of never being uncomfortable. He chooses comfort over growth, gratification over dominance, safety over strategy. He sees discomfort as danger, not as a doorway. He avoids hard conversations, sidesteps challenges, makes excuses for every missed opportunity. Now is not the right time. I'm protecting my peace. But under that calm is fear. Fear of risk, fear of failure, fear of being exposed as incapable. Machiavelli believed great leaders walk through fire, make brutal decisions, and embrace discomfort for long-term power. A prince who only wants love will be conquered by men, by temptation, by life itself. The weak man craves luxury before labor. He escapes pain instead of pursuing purpose. It shows up in his habits. Endless entertainment, addictions, shallow relationships. He does just enough to survive, never enough to lead. He doesn't train his body or his mind. He lets his environment shape him, blames circumstance instead of sharpening the tools he controls. Discipline, clarity, action. Contrast that with the Machiavellian ideal. A man who delays gratification, prepares silently, suffers now to rule later. That man is dangerous. That man commands respect even in silence because he doesn't fear the grind. He owns it. But the man who worships comfort, he's fragile. The moment life gets hard, he breaks. The moment he's tested, he folds. He's a castle made of sand, impressive until the first wave hits. And worse, his weakness spreads. Surround yourself with these men and you will shrink. You will start justifying laziness. You will become him. Comfort is not peace. It is a slow, smiling trap. Power is forged in adversity. And a man who avoids challenge is unfit to lead, protect, or rule. Spot him by what he avoids. If he dodges a hard path, escapes into distraction, craves comfort more than victory, you're not looking at a man. You're looking at a liability. Emotional leakage, the weak man's downfall. He calls it honesty, authenticity, vulnerability. But the truth? He's not expressing, he's leaking. The first sign of a weak man is emotional exposure without strategy. He can't stay composed. He can't hold frame. He can't think through pressure. He is ruled by moods, by fears, by impulses. He doesn't plan. He reacts. He explodes during small arguments. He spirals into self-pity when criticized. He broadcasts his frustration to anyone who listens. His emotions are public property. On his face, in his voice, online. He calls it transparency. Machiavelli would call it strategic suicide, because when the world sees your leash, it knows how to pull you. And the weak man wears his leash like jewelry. He is predictable, triggerable, controllable. The strategist knows whoever can trigger you owns you. The weak man is a puppet with visible strings. He roars when afraid. He cries to be comforted. He spills secrets when insecure. And once the world sees that, it never forgets. It uses it. It exploits it. It owns him through it. This is how trust erodes, how respect dies, how manipulation begins. Leaders won't promote him. Partners won't trust him. Enemies won't even try to fight. They'll just push his buttons and watch him self-destruct. This man lacks patience. When a plan takes time, he panics. When faced with resistance, he whines. When waiting for results, he quits. Not because he can't succeed, but because the waiting bruises his ego. The strongest men feel deeply but act deliberately. They take the hit without flinching. They hear the insult and don't respond. That silence, that restraint, that calm under pressure, it's terrifying. And it's Machiavellian because power is not loud. It's measured. The weak man, he reveals his hand over and over. When angry, he shouts. When nervous, he rambles. When tested, he leaks. Every move, every fear, every insecurity, spilled for the world to see. And that makes him easy to manipulate, easy to sideline, easy to break. So ask yourself, do you express with purpose or explode without control? Have your emotions been your power or your leash? Comment below. What's one time your reaction cost you something you couldn't get back? The performance of strength. He looks confident, talks loud, walks with swagger. But strength isn't something you wear, it's something you build. The weak man doesn't build substance. He builds spectacle. He's not strong, so he tries to look strong. Not powerful, so he acts powerful. And when his inner world is hollow, he fills it with noise, flash, bravado, performance. You'll spot him instantly. He's the loudest in the room, always boasting, always exaggerating. He quotes books he never finished, buys cars he can't afford, speaks in borrowed phrases from men he doesn't understand. But behind it all, just armor, shiny, fragile, covering emptiness. Where the strong man lets presence speak, the weak man performs. He needs applause to feel real, validation to feel masculine. His identity is outsourced, stolen from trends, crafted by aesthetics. He imitates masculinity because he never earned it. Machiavelli would call this man dangerous, not because he holds power, but because he fakes it. And when life tests him, he crumbles because costumes don't protect. He cultivates perception but never builds resilience. He boasts about the future, avoids the present. He shames others to feel tall. He performs for women but disappears when responsibility calls. He craves the spotlight because he fears invisibility. He doesn't want to lead. He wants to be admired. But true influence isn't performative. It's silent, calculated, unshakable. The strongest men don't shout. They don't need to. Their presence shifts the room without saying a word. But the weak man, he chases like posts wins, flaunts ambition, because deep down he's scared of going unseen. And that fear is fatal. He confuses clout with power, aesthetics with identity, performance with legacy. Machiavelli knew better. Power is measured by control, consequence, character. So look closer. If he always needs an audience, always proving, always flaunting, he's not a man, he's a mask. And when tested, the mask falls. Now ask yourself, are you building power or branding it? Have you ever performed strength instead of becoming it? Comment below. What's one time the image you built collapsed under pressure? The fear of silence. He says he enjoys solitude, that he's independent, that he loves his own company. But watch him. When the noise fades, he twitches, scrolls, texts, turns on music. Anything to not be alone with his own mind. The weak man doesn't crave connection. He fears confrontation with himself. Because when he's alone, there's no applause, distraction, mask, just silence. And in that silence, he hears what he's been avoiding: doubt, insecurity, lack of direction. He surrounds himself with noise, not because he enjoys stimulation, but because he's terrified of stillness. The strong man enters solitude like a warrior steps into forge, to think, to sharpen, to build. But the weak man enters silence like a criminal enters judgment. He plays music constantly, jumps from conversation to conversation, refreshes notifications like oxygen. He doesn't just fear being alone. He fears a version of himself that appears when no one is watching. That's why he clings, manipulates, overextends, panics when people pull away. He doesn't want connection. He needs distraction. Anyone who gives him attention owns him. Anyone who threatens his comfort becomes an enemy. This isn't strength. It's dependency in disguise. He hops from friend group to friend group, relationship to relationship, never sitting still, never looking inward. He doesn't build depth. He borrows presence. Machiavelli warned, a prince must learn to act alone, because power is not built in crowds. It's built in solitude. The fox learns in silence. The lion prepares in isolation. The weak man, he crumbles in the quiet, because in silence, there's no one to perform for, no one to hide behind. And without an audience, he's nothing. So he clings, guilt trips, pleads, not out of love, out of panic. This is not a partner. It's a burden. This is not strength. It's emotional addiction. So ask yourself, can you sit in silence without needing to escape? Can you go one day without reaching for distraction? Comment below. What happens when you're alone and no one's watching? What do you see when there's no noise left to hide behind? Final warning, the weak man collapse. Now you've seen him. The weak man unmasked, piece by piece, wound by wound. He smiles but collapses under pressure. He speaks softly but runs from silence. He talks big but never shows up when it matters. He doesn't fight, he flees. He doesn't build, he performs. He doesn't protect, he explains. And yet, you've trusted him. You followed him. You may have even become him. But here's the final truth. Weakness isn't passive. It infects. It spreads. It sabotages everything near it. It's not just about him. It's about what you lose when you don't see him soon enough. Your time, your momentum, your future. Because the weak man doesn't stand next to you. He stands in your way. He's the friend who hesitates when you need backup. The partner who clings when you need strength. The leader who folds and leaves you to clean the fallout. You think he's harmless because he's soft. But soft doesn't mean safe. It means untested. And what's untested can't be trusted. Machiavelli didn't write for cowards. He wrote for those who dare to lead, even if it means being hated. Now you have a choice. To keep enabling the weak, protecting their pride, silencing your instincts to stay light, or to build something that doesn't collapse when reality hits. Because in a world ruled by pressure, only the prepared survive. The rest? Perform, plead, perish. Now look at yourself. Which part of you is still, soft, scared, pretending? Which part folds when no one is watching? Drop it in the comments and tell the truth. Not for them. For you, this isn't the time to hide. It's the time